National grid collapses, third time in 1 week. Blackout in Kano, Kaduna as vandals destroy electricity towers. Soldiers kill 96 terrorists, arrest commander of operations. On the foreign scene, Kenyan court rejects removal of deputy president. Hello and welcome to Trust TV's news updates. I am Chiamaka Mwafo. Thank you for joining us. The national grid on Saturday collapsed again, the third time in 1 week. Power generation went off on Saturday morning around 8:16 a.m. Recall that the grid tripped off on Monday and on Tuesday when it was being restored. Checks confirmed that power generation was 3,042 megawatts at 8 a.m. and peaked at 3,968 megawatts at. However, generation dropped to 47 megawatts as of 9 a.m. Allocation to power distribution companies stood at 0.00 megawatts at the time of filing this report. The cause of the collapse could not be ascertained. The transmission company of Nigeria says two towers along its 330 kV Shiroro-Kaduna transmission lines have been vandalized, causing damage to sections of both lines. This has resulted in blackouts in some areas of Kano and Kaduna states. The Commission said it received a report of the damage from the Shiroro Regional Office on Friday. In a statement signed by the company's General Manager, Public Affairs in Didimba, the Commission said arrangements were in top gear to deploy a newly procured emergency restoration system to the site pending the reconstruction of the damaged towers. According to TCN, the 330 kV transmission line 1 tripped first, followed shortly by the second, as efforts were still ongoing to reclose the first line, prompting the urgent mobilization of local vigilantes to the patrol line. General Yakubu Gowon, Nigeria's former head of state, marks his 90th birthday today, reflecting on a life dedicated to public service. Gowon, who led Nigeria through the turbulent years of the Civil War, played a pivotal role in keeping the nation united during one of its darkest chapters. Abdullahi Ahmed takes a look at his remarkable stewardship and lasting impact on Nigeria to commemorate this milestone.
Yakubu Jack Gowon was born on October 19, 1934. He's a former Nigerian military head of state, best known for leading Nigeria through its civil war. His leadership during one of the most turbulent times in Nigeria's history shaped not only his legacy, but the trajectory of the nation.
Let me say from the onset that I regard this as a Nigerian problem to be solved by Nigerians. Our experience over the last 2.5 years does not encourage us to believe that many of those who offer us their hands of friendship are actually friends, or that the advice we receive from so many quarters is honest and helpful. Our problems have been complicated by foreigners who think they understand Nigerians or Africans better than we do ourselves. So-called humanitarians have deliberately fanned the flames and helped to prolong the suffering of our people.
Gowon, an Anglican Christian from the Angas ethnic group in Plateau State, rose to power after the 1966 counter-coup. This event followed a coup earlier that year which had inflamed ethnic tensions and political instability in Nigeria. Yakubu Gowon, who at the time was a 31-year-old military officer, was chosen as a neutral figure to lead the country, being neither Hausa Fulani nor Igbo, two dominant ethnic groups at the center of the conflict.
The so-called rising sun of Biafra is set forever. It will be a great disservice for anyone to continue to use the word Biafra to refer to any part of the East Central state of Nigeria. The tragic chapter of violence is just ended. We are at the dawn of national reconciliation.
In 1967, the Eastern region, led by Colonel Chukwuemeka Ojukwu, declared secession, forming the Republic of Biafra. This marked the beginning of the Nigerian Civil War, also known as the Biafran War. Gowon's government responded swiftly by creating 12 new states to weaken the support for Biafra. The war was brutal, lasting 30 months, and it claimed millions of lives, including from famine, largely due to blockade imposed by Gowon's federal government. In 1970, Biafra surrendered and Gowon delivered his famous "No Victor, No Vanquished" speech, promoting reconciliation and unity after the devastating conflict. He announced a program focused on reconciliation, reconstruction, and rehabilitation to rebuild the torn eastern region. Despite accusations of war crimes, including genocide and targeting civilians during the conflict, Gowon has consistently denied any wrongdoing, maintaining that his actions were necessary to keep Nigeria united.
From all indication, a new government has been established in Nigeria. I wish to state that I, on my part, have also accepted the change and pledged my full loyalty to my nation, to my country, and the new government. Therefore, in the overall interest of the nation and our beloved country, I appeal to all concerned to cooperate fully with the new government and ensure the preservation of peace, unity, and the stability of our dear motherland.
Gowon's military government, which lasted nearly 9 years until his overthrow in 1975, also benefited from the oil boom of the 1970s, which allowed for significant infrastructural development in the post-war years of Nigeria.
You do your best and be a loyal Nigerian, love Nigeria, good or bad, and whatever it is, if it is bad, try to make it better.
Although remembered for his wartime leadership, his tenure in power left a lasting impact on Nigeria's political and economic landscape, including the solidification of military rule in the country for years to come.
Security matters. The defense headquarters says no fewer than 96 terrorists have been killed by troops during operations in the northern parts of Nigeria. Also, a total of 227 suspects, including the terrorist commander, identified as Usman Maiseje, were arrested in the operations. In a statement on Saturday, the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Buba Edward, said Maiseje was a close associate of a wanted high-profile terrorist leader known as Kachala Boka. He added that the suspect was cooperating and providing troops with the much-needed intelligence for further operations. Buba said in the South-South, troops recovered crude oil worth 712 million naira and arrested 45 suspected oil thieves. He said troops recovered 71 sophisticated weapons and 1,463 ammunition. Over in Kaduna State, ahead of the local government poll, sensitive and other election materials were being distributed to the 23 local government areas in the state. The distribution of the material observed by party delegates, election observers, security personnel, and other stakeholders. The chairman of the Kaduna Independent Electoral Commission, Hajara Mohammed, assured voters of unbiased conduct of the election. Government has ordered restriction of vehicular movement from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. within the state.
People should expect the poll to be open by 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, as everything is on course. As you can see, we are uploading our sensitive materials for dispatch to the local government areas. Already our non-sensitive materials have long been at the local government, and each local government is on top of its gear with all the activities. It's the normal election procedure which we have been talking about, and we are educating the electorate on it. It is expected that the polls will be open by 8 a.m. and all electorates that is the voters, are expected to go to the polling units with their PVC. They check their name, they queue in and ensure that their name is there, and they'll be issued a ballot paper after satisfying that they are registered in that polling unit.
There are indications that the Abdullahi Ganduje-led leadership of the All Progressives Congress may postpone the inaugural meeting of the National Executive Committee till 2025. Sources said the APC Secretariat attributed the likely postponement to the busy schedule and unavailability of President Bola Tinubu, who has not yet returned to the country. The concerns were raised barely 2 months after the ruling APC announced an indefinite postponement of its National Caucus and National Executive Committee, earlier scheduled for September 11 and 12, respectively. Although no reason was given for the suspension of the meetings, the National Publicity Secretary, Felix Morka, stated that the new date would be announced later. Reports emerged, however, that the two engagements were called off because of the president's absence. When contacted for reaction, the National Deputy Organizing Secretary of the APC, Nzechidi Duru, said no new date was fixed. The Nasarawa State chapter of the All Progressives Congress has announced its chairmanship candidates for the November 2 local government council elections in the state. The chairman of the party's primary elections committee, Tinubu Adamson, revealed the names of the successful candidates while submitting the exercise report to the party's state executive on Friday in Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital. Adamson explained that the party's flag bearers emerged through consensus as agreed by the party in line with Article 20 of its constitution. He noted that the consensus candidates emerged following thorough consultation and resolution among the party stakeholders and the candidates. Adamson also stated that the party's councillorship candidates for the 147 electoral wards had similarly emerged through consensus. The Lagos State Ministry of Environment and Water Resources has continued the removal of structures obstructing drainage channels in the state to tackle flooding. The ministry's commissioner, Tokunbo Wahab, disclosed this in a statement on videos were shared on X.com on Friday. He said operatives of the Drainage Enforcement and Compliance Department of Lagos State Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, alongside security operatives, continued disenforcement operations with the removal of contravening structures blocking drainages and canals along System 1 drainage channel in Arowojobe Estate. Wahab stated that the demolition is part of wholesome measures to prevent the problem of flooding, which has become almost intractable in the axis. To more stories. A man has died after allegedly jumping into a canal to avoid arrest in the Ikpaja area of Lagos State. The Lagos Police Command spokesman, SP Benjamin Hundeyin, confirmed the development on his verified X handle on Friday. He said the incident happened on Wednesday at about 10 a.m. in the Moson Okonola area of Ikpaja. Nigerians have continued to react to the new curriculum for education recently introduced by the federal government for primary school and secondary schools. The Minister of Education, Professor Terry Elmaman, has recently announced the introduction of the new curriculum expected to take effect September 2025. Trust TV Ado Musa gets the reaction of residents and judges on the development. Here's his report.
According to the federal government, the new subject to address problems of learning crisis and employability, as the new skills acquisition will be introduced. The curriculum, if implemented, is also expected to have a multiplier effect, equipping students with 21st century skills. Reacting to the development, the residents of Jos said the introduction of the subject is a welcome development.
Curriculum of primary student or secondary student to also have a knowledge and skills whereby they will be creative and productive. It is a welcome development in our own economy that they will graduate having something on their brain that they will contribute to the country.
Federal government will follow the implementation process, step-by-step implementation process, then it is fine. So it is a welcoming development, and I pray honestly, and I wish, I sincerely pray that it will be followed through.
I think it's a very great welcome project because as a Nigerian, we know that the place of entrepreneurship, bringing up a lot of people to do skill acquisition so that they will learn traits for themselves. It's very key. With that, we know also it will even create more jobs and other things in the nation. So it will boost our economy even. So I guess it's a very positive and a welcome idea from the federal government.
Augustine Aziz, an associate professor at the Department of Social Science Education, University of Jos, has some reservations.
I have no problem with that, but how are we going to implement it? How do we intend to fund it? Where do we have experts that are ready and willing and to teach these subjects to our students? If after teaching them, are we going to give them starter packs? Are we going to give them capital for them to start what they have learned at secondary school level?
The University Don also noted that currently, university students take courses in entrepreneurship, but not yet yielding the desired results.
I'm a lecturer in the university. In universities, we teach students entrepreneurship as a GST, general study. No student in any Nigerian university graduates without doing entrepreneurship as a course. Now, our problem with that one is that students just go, they learn theory, no practical. At the end of the day, the idea of introducing entrepreneurship at tertiary school level was for students to learn entrepreneurship. Then even as students, they will be guided, they will be given some starter packs, helped with capital to see how they will go into their own small-scale businesses so that when they graduate, they will be able to be self-reliant, self-independent. We have not been able to implement that fully. We only teach them the theory in our universities. How will this one be different? That is my fear.
Nigerians are commending the federal government for the initiative, but express doubt if the program will come to reality, considering the past failures of laudable programs in the country. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Over in Kenya, a high court in capital Nairobi has suspended the appointment by Parliament of Kindiki, a 52-year-old academic turned political heavyweight, as new deputy president. The move followed a case filed by Gachagwa's legal team alleging his ouster has been unfair. Kenya's parliament on Friday unanimously voted to back President William Ruto's pick to replace his impeached deputy Rigathi Gachagua, even as a high court injunction threw the historical political process into disarray. In a fast-moving political drama, Rigathi was sacked by the upper house on Thursday night on accusations of stirring ethnic hatred and undermining the judiciary, charges he denied and vowed to fight in court. Interior Minister Kithure Kindiki was swiftly nominated to replace Rigathi in a shake-up that analysts suggested could help Ruto consolidate his grip on power that has been shaken by recent anti-government demonstrations, the biggest test of his two-year presidency so far. Palestinian militant group Hamas on Friday confirmed its leader Yahya Sinwar has been killed a day after Israel announced his death in Gaza. Qatar-based Hamas official Khalil al-Hayya said in a recorded video statement, Sinwar became Israel's most wanted man after the October 7, 2023 attack, the deadliest in Israeli history. Israel announced Sinwar's death on Thursday, which Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called a heavy blow to the Palestinian group. Israeli forces have been fighting in Gaza for more than a year. Hamas's October 7 attack resulted in the deaths of 1,206 people, mostly civilians. Militants also took 251 people hostage during the attack. In sports, reigning African Footballer of the Year Victor Osimhen has been named in Galatasaray's squad for Antalyaspor clash. Osimhen was sidelined for a few weeks due to a muscle injury he sustained in the Istanbul derby with Kasımpaşa last month. The Nigerian international returned to full training this week. 25-year-old is among the 22 players that travelled to Antalyaspor on Friday. The encounter against Antalyaspor will hold this Saturday. Galatasaray are top of the standings with 22 points from 8 matches, while Antalyaspor 14th on 8 points. Nigeria's Flamingos are gunning for another win against Ecuador at the 2024 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup. The West Africans will take on the debutants in their second game of the competition at the CFC Stadium, Santiago de los Caballeros, this Saturday. Nigeria trashed New Zealand 4-1 in the opening fixture at the same venue on Wednesday. Ecuador also enjoyed a good start in the Dominican Republic, edging past the hosts 2-0. A win for either side would punch their ticket to the knockout phase, while a draw would take matters to the final day. Flamingos head coach Bankole Oluokere says the side is ready for the encounter. Now we come to the end of news updates at this time. For more news programs and documentaries, do want to follow us on our social media platforms and on our YouTube live stream. I am Chiamaka Nwafo. Thank you for joining us.